Today is May 2nd, 2020. My name is Malam Ibrahim Lawal. I will be your host for today as well as a presenter. Unfortunately, our host for today will not be able to join in for technical reasons. So I will be standing in as the host and at the same time, one of the two presenters for today. Today is our inaugural BCA webinar series. This is our new way of learning. Today's webinar topic will be, our primary topic will be managing asset maintenance in a time of crisis. However, the discussion today will be a two-part discussion, having a bonus topic on how to practically seek and acquire useful knowledge. This will be presented by me. This learning session shall hopefully be for between 60 to 90 minutes. And we will start very shortly. Please keep your mics muted. Stay tuned. Get ready for a wow learning time in our own way. And that is global quality made out of Nigeria. This is our company motto, global quality made in Nigeria. Global quality made in Nigeria. For everything that we do, we try to be the best that we can be. Okay. This will be the table of contents and that will guide our presentation for today. As you can see, there are two topics. There are going to be two presenters, 1 and 2, and then we will have our question and answer session at the end of both presentations. But the question and answer pane shall be open from the very beginning to the end. So everybody, I enjoin everybody to drop in their questions at any time that they have a question so they don't forget. So continue to drop in your questions right from the very beginning. And we will collate them and try to answer as many as we can answer. Those that we do not answer, we will download all the questions, we will answer them and send to everybody. We are going to send to everybody. Host company introduction. Beina Capability Academy Africa, that is BCA Africa, is the capability development and management arm of the company Beina Maintenance and Reliability Services, BMR. BMR is a Nigerian company founded in 2015, and it is Nigeria's leading maintenance and reliability capability and capacity development company. With the vision of being the first choice in M&R services and training in Africa, we have steadily climbed the rungs to reach where we are today. BMR is Africa's first and Nigeria's only. I repeat, BMR is Africa's first and Nigeria's only Society for Maintenance and Reliability Professionals, SMRP, approved education provider with the acronym APEP. Society for Maintenance and Reliability Professional, SMRP, is an American-based, globally acceptable M&R certifying body. They own the popular certifications CMRP, CMRT, and CAMA. We are Africa's first and Nigeria's only SMRP APEP, and we remain so. The name SMRP here is underlined. It is a hyperlink That's why the color is different and it is underlined. If you look at my cursor, you will see that the link behind it comes out. So you can, when we share the slides, you can click that link and it takes you straight to the approved provider site, and you can see our logo as a tier 2 education provider. Meanwhile, let me mention again that all the icons that you are seeing, if you can see my mouse pointer, my cursor, all the icons that you can see here, all have links. So they are all hyperlinks, all of them. Our Facebook page, Twitter page, LinkedIn page, Instagram page, and our website. They are all active and they will remain active even when we send you the slides in PDF. So I urge all of you, every single one of you, tell your friends, tell your family members, every single one of you, please go onto social media, follow our Facebook page, follow our Twitter page, follow our Instagram page especially, follow our LinkedIn page especially, and of course our Instagram page. Keep tab with our website. Keep tab with our website so that you can follow the latest trends as we share them. We will also be sharing on our social media handles. BMR is the most successful reliability engineering training company in Nigeria by far. By far. We are head and shoulders above every other reliability engineering training company in Nigeria, notwithstanding the fact that we came in late to the market. We are extremely successful, especially with the reliability engineering courses from ASQ. We are active members of the Oil and Gas Trainers Association. If you can see my mouse pointer around the name Oil and Gas Trainers, OCTAN, Oil and Gas Trainers. We are very active members of OCTAN. In the last 5 years, we have helped more than 150 persons get globally acceptable certifications, CMRP, CMRT, CRE, CQE, CSSBB, CCT, CMQOE, ETC, and many more have acquired knowledge and skills associated with our bespoke certificate courses, BCC, tailored to meet your specific needs. All our webinar series courses shall be BCC courses, and we shall be offering certificates only on demand, especially for the webinars that are free. We shall be offering certificates only on demand for a token fee of 2,000 Naira. We can send you a PDF certificate. Otherwise, our free webinars, our free training courses will not have a certificate unless we are doing a promo specifically mentioned. Otherwise, no certificate, but you can request for a certificate at any time for any webinar that you have attended, and we shall give it to you at a token fee of 2,000 Naira only. Our client base ranges all the way from oil and gas upstream through to downstream manufacturing, power and energy, transportation, telecommunication, construction, education, and cement, that is mining. From May 2020, we are starting the BCA Africa webinar series, as well as our bespoke learning management system, LMS. We are currently building our learning management system to allow people who want to hear and learn from us to remotely connect to us, pay for their courses and learn whatever that they want to learn, all online. Somebody is asking if certificate issuance is included in the current webinar. The answer is yes and no. No, because we are offering this webinar for free, and it is going to cost some money to produce your certificate. If you want a certificate, we can give you a certificate for a token fee of, for a token fee of 2,000 Naira. for a token fee of 2,000 Naira. Gado, Shei, Josephine, if you can hear me, please drop a message in the chat box for everybody to see. The certificate shall be given for a token of 2,000 Naira for those who want it. It is on demand. So you can now take any of our courses from the comfort of your homes, anywhere you are around the world, virtually. Setting up a learning management system is a lot of work. It may not come up in the next 1 month, maybe within 2 months, we'll be ready to launch it, but work is currently ongoing behind the clouds. Today's presenter is Malam Ibrahim Lawal. And Malam is the president and CSO of Beina Maintenance and Reliability Services Group, Lagos, Nigeria. Malam is also the president of Beina Group. It is a group of companies within which Beina Maintenance and Reliability Services Limited is a part of, just as BCA is part of the group. Malam's profile will be too long to read out or to present within this time of the webinar. You can please visit Malam's LinkedIn page. If you can see my cursor, all the icons here are also hyperlinks. You can visit his LinkedIn page or his Instagram page. This is his email address. You can read his profile and you can contact him anytime by email or by telephone. This telephone number is his direct line and it is also on WhatsApp. So you can chat with him anytime to ask for any assistance. So you can please follow the presenter, Malam Ibrahim Lawal, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook. You will find him there, especially on LinkedIn, and you will get to learn a lot more, just as you will follow the company. All the links are here. Our presentation topic number 1 starts right now, and the title again is How to Practically Seek and Acquire Useful Knowledge. Let's start by understanding some basic definitions before we go into this discussion proper. Knowledge, from the Oxford Advanced English Dictionary. Knowledge means information known by a person from studying or gaining experience. That is knowledge. When you get useful information from any source, including from a teacher, you learn from somebody, from a colleague, from a friend, from a spouse, that is knowledge. As long as that information is useful to you, you can make sense of it, it is called knowledge. Now, a beautiful quotation from Confucius. I like this quotation. Real knowledge is to know the extent of one's ignorance. I'm bringing in the word ignorance because I will be defining it next. Ignorance, I will be defining it next. Some professionals have said that ignorance is not the opposite of knowledge, and I agree. Here it is, ignorance. Ignorance is the lack of knowledge, experience, information, or education. It is the opposite of wisdom. Controversial, but no problem. We will just take the meaning for the purpose of this webinar time. Ignorance is simply the lack of knowledge. Where you do not have any knowledge, reasonable knowledge about a subject matter, it is said that you are ignorant of that subject. Ignorance, therefore, is a lack of knowledge, not a lack of capability. It is a lack of knowledge, not a lack of capability. Hold on, somebody is trying. Gado, can you deal with this, please? Your slide is not corresponding. It's still showing the presenter profile. Really? Okay, then somebody has answered. It's his network. Okay, no problem. Gado, please deal with this behind me. Okay, so ignorance is a lack of knowledge, not capability. It is a lack of knowledge, not capability. Capability is the level of competence that you have, level of skill, the quantum of skill that you have to be able to do something. Now that we have defined ignorance and knowledge, let's look at why and how we should seek knowledge. Let's now discuss why we should discuss knowledge. We should seek and acquire knowledge. How we should seek and acquire knowledge as well. No assumptions shall be made here that we all know why and how to seek knowledge. That's ignorance. We just talked about ignorance, the lack of knowledge, experience, information, or education. So we're not assuming that everybody in this class understands why and how we seek useful knowledge. We don't want to be ignorant. At the end of this webinar today, we should be knowledgeable enough and understand that we are not at least ignorant of these subject matters that will be discussed today. So the questions will be, why do we need to seek and acquire knowledge? Why do we need to seek to acquire knowledge? And how do we practically seek and acquire it? This topic of seeking and acquiring knowledge is applicable to every single professional, irrespective of the field that you come from. That is why I am taking on it today. It is not maintenance and reliability alone. It is about everything, even if you are a preacher, even if you are a store attendant, even if you sell in the market, anything that you do, this is relevant to you. So when we share the slides to all of you, please share with your friends, everybody around you whom you think will be needing this knowledge. So we'll take the first question. Why do we seek to acquire knowledge? Big question. We seek knowledge for very many reasons. There are countless number of reasons why we seek knowledge. It's entirely up to us to determine the reasons why we seek knowledge. But irrespective of what the reasons will be, we will only seek knowledge when we identify that we have some gap. We identify that we have some gap. And we only identify that we have some gap when we are not able to solve some problems. Let me take that again. We only identify that we have knowledge gaps when we come to the realization, that is the end of ignorance. When you realize something, that is the end of ignorance. When we come to the realization that we cannot solve some problems. Every problem has a solution. When you are faced with a problem and you cannot solve it, it means that you lack knowledge about that problem. That is why you are not able to solve it. And that automatically means you have a knowledge gap, as can be seen in this graphic here. You have a knowledge gap. And so, because you have a knowledge gap, you will seek knowledge that will help you overcome that knowledge gap. Ultimately, the reason why we seek knowledge is to be able to create solutions that will solve our life problems. Our life problems. I did not specifically write, and it is intentional, I did not specifically write here maintenance and reliability problems. I'm talking about life problems, and it relates to everything about our lives, everything about our family lives, our work lives, our recreational lives, Everywhere you have problems, you need to find solutions. In seeking solutions, you probably will need to seek knowledge. The journey to seeking the right knowledge starts with a need to do so. A need to do so. That means you must come to the end of your ignorance journey and realize that you have a knowledge gap, like this man, as you can see him, very well dressed, beautiful guy, probably a banker, marketing guy with his briefcase. He's going out to work, and then he realizes that there is a gully. He cannot move from where he is to where he wants to go to. This is where he wants to go to. There is a gap, and that is the knowledge gap, as the case may be. So, seeking knowledge starts from a need to. That means you must have a need to want to seek knowledge. This is created by the problem that you are facing. This makes you conscious that you have a knowledge gap, as you can see in the left graphic. And then the need to seek knowledge is also guided by your personal vision. I'm not talking about your company vision, which can also drive your need to learn. I will prefer to use your personal vision, because if you do not have a personal vision and you are not driven by it, even if your business, your function, your department has a vision, you will not be driven by it because you are not driven by your own personal vision. So I think I will be safe to use personal vision in this case. The definitions remain the same. Vision, as it is defined, I like the simple definition that it is a wish, a simple wish for the future. That's what it means. Vision is just a simple wish. It may sound stupid, but that's how vision is supposed to be. It should sound stupid. It should sound larger. It should look larger than life. That's what vision should be. So, the journey to seeking the right knowledge starts with a need to do, guided by your personal vision. That's it. Next question. Now, how do you seek and acquire this knowledge? Now we have identified that we have a problem that we need to solve. We have identified that we have a knowledge gap that we need to close. We have agreed that we need to go on that journey to seek the knowledge. The next question will be, how do you really acquire this knowledge? Remember that seeking knowledge always starts with an intention guided by your personal vision. There are many ways, however, to seeking required knowledge, like your senses, normal senses, six senses as they say, your reason, tradition from home, your culture, formal school. You can seek knowledge from formal school. All of us went to school and we learned from school. That is formal knowledge. Certification training courses or any such training, you can get knowledge from there. Mentorship, etc. There are many ways you can get knowledge, but I'm only interested in two of them. I'm only interested in one class of the many ways of seeking knowledge, and that is the class called method of authority, under which you find teaching and mentorship. Many of these different methods of seeking knowledge can be grouped together under what we call the method of authority. The method of authority is defined as that method where you seek and acquire knowledge by listening, allowing yourself, you'll give yourself and your spirit, allow yourself to listen and be guided by somebody whom you think has a better and a greater depth of knowledge in that subject that you are seeking to acquire knowledge. That is the method of authority. Once you agree that there is somebody who has a better knowledge about a particular subject matter, in this case now, in our high schools, we had teachers, several teachers for different subjects. We assume, and correctly so, that these people knew mathematics, they knew English, they knew geography, chemistry, physics, finance more than we do. And so we submit ourselves to their authority so that we can learn from them. That is the method of authority. So when you sit in a class and someone stands in front of the class and is sharing his knowledge, his experience, his expertise, that is a display of method of authority. And I like particularly two of them, teaching and mentorship. I will tell you what teaching and mentorship means. Definitions. Teach, this is also from Oxford Advanced Learner's Dictionary. Teach is a verb to help someone learn something new by giving information about it. To help someone. To help someone. Learn something new by giving information about it. 2, to make somebody feel, think, and act in a different way. That is to teach. So the person who does this is called a teacher. And the process of doing this is called teaching. Mentor is a noun and a verb. An experienced and trusted advisor. You see the word trust has come in. As a verb, it is to advise or train someone, especially a younger person. So the person who does this is called a mentor. The graphic under shows that mentors and teachers do very well in closing the gap between your current knowledge situation and your future expected knowledge situation. And that's what we have in that graphic. Now, we present to you our knowledge block diagram, which we call the RACS model. It is a model that is developed by us at BMR. It is a model that we have used to learn over many years, more than a decade. It is a model that I have successfully used to further my career personally. So it is a model that I call the RACS model, where R stands for relevance, interest relevance to your vision and needs. Relevance of data that you will gather in the course of seeking information. You will gather data, several kinds of data. So the relevance of that data is very important. Access, review the data to make some sense out of it. Once you are able to gather data and you review the data to be able to make sense out of the data, sieve out the ones that are not related to what you want, and you keep the ones that you think are related, you have created information. Quality is the cue. You sieve from your information, you sieve half-truths out of and gauge the depth to which the information that you are left with meets your need. That is quality. Once you understand it, you have acquired knowledge, and then you can now begin to seek how to create solutions to solve your life problems. And we have a graphics here that depicts the RAC model as created by us. You can review this anytime later. Here, still talking about knowledge and ignorance. I like this beautiful quote that I got from a very good friend of mine, a contact of mine on LinkedIn. He posted this some weeks ago on COVID-19 and how it is affecting the world. And he said, discipline saved China. I agree. Indiscipline is punishing Europe. Arrogance is dealing with America. And the most important part for us, ignorance threatens to wipe out Africa. A classical example of ignorance is what is happening in Kano State, Nigeria today. COVID-19 entered Nigeria from Lagos, and it took more than a month to reach Kano. And we all know what is happening there today. That is ignorance, a classical example. The man Confucius, again, as we round up my session, he said, "He who learns but does not think is lost. He who learns but does not think is lost." That is not the part that I am going to. It is the second part that I am more interested in. He who thinks but does not learn is in great danger, and that is the ignorant man. He who thinks but does not learn is in great danger. That is the ignorant man, according to Confucius. There is, many weeks ago, I watched a video online by an Indian guru who was being interviewed by little kids, and one of the little girls asked him, "Sadhguru, we heard that ignorance is bliss. If that is the case, why do we seek knowledge?" And the man gave a very, very, very wonderful response to that. He said, "No arguments, no problem. Ignorance is bliss. But if you are a skydiver, you jump out of a plane 10,000, 20,000 feet above sea level. You jump out of a plane, you are skydiving. It is very blissful. Air will blow out your hair. Very blissful. You will enjoy it. So it remains blissful until you look at the ground. And then you will see that the earth is rapidly running towards you. That's when you realize that there is danger in what you are doing. So ignorance is bliss up until this. It isn't. This is a skateboarder. So when they do very dangerous stunts, they think that it is bliss until it happens. Thank you very much, gentlemen and ladies. I've ended my own session. And I will not take questions at this time. You can drop your questions in the Q&A panel, and I will take them at the end of the class. I will be introducing the next speaker, who will take up the controls from me right away. Our next speaker is Gado Yakubu Titus. Gado, if you can hear me, you can start to project your slides from your computer by yourself.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam. Okay. I can hear you loud and clear, and I believe you can hear me also.
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Thank you. So I'm going to take over controls now from you.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, okay, and share your slides. While you are doing that, I will conclude your introduction.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you can stop my share. Okay, while we wait for Gado to present from his side, Gado Yakubu Titus is an engineer of very high quality. He has been my friend for many years and a very reliable friend. He is also my mentor and advisor. Gado is the senior manager for production and capability development for Chi Nigeria Limited, Lagos, Nigeria. All his contacts are here, just like mine. They are hyperlinked. You can contact him by email, by phone, most importantly, by LinkedIn, if you want to learn something quality. Gado is also an accomplished writer. He writes very beautiful stories on Instagram especially. Please follow him to learn more. Thank you very much, Gado. You may now continue.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam. I don't know if you can see my screen.
I can.
Okay, please, participants, if you can see my screen, just maybe signify by a wave of hand.
Can you move back and forth for us to be sure that?
Okay. Can you see my movements?
Yes, I can see your movements.
Okay, good.
Okay, many people are answering that they can see.
Okay.
Many people, we have more than 50 people that have raised their hands, they can see. Excellent, please go on.
Okay, good. So thank you very much, madam.
Thank you, sir.
First of all, I want to appreciate you for this opportunity to be part of this inaugural webinar session for Beina. And participants, thank you all for joining. I also want to say, contrary to what Madam has said, I am not his mentor, but he is my mentor. I've known him for years, and in fact, it's one of the best things that has happened to me as far as my career is concerned. I've enjoyed speed in my career, and I would say it is courtesy of Malam's tutelage and guidance. So today I'm going to be taking us on the topic, managing asset maintenance in a time of crisis. Of course, it is not news that the world is going through a very, very hard time at the moment. A lot of businesses are downsizing, some are shutting down, countries are going into recession and all that. And the reason is because of the global pandemic, COVID-19. So organizations are in crisis at the moment, and I know I'm talking to operations managers here, maintenance managers, plant managers, and all. I believe we are all business leaders at various levels. And the truth is, one of the major drivers of business continuity is maintenance. Because for manufacturing operations, it is impossible to continue in operations if you have assets that are not reliable and assets that are in bad operational condition. So it is very important that maintenance managers, maintenance engineers, supervisors, operations managers, production managers understand how to go about operations in this period of crisis. So today I'm going to be talking to us on this topic, and then we're going to be going through this roadmap. We're going to be talking about maintenance leadership, necessities and not luxuries, opportunity maintenance, preventive maintenance optimization, which is also known as PMO, CBM, which is also known as condition-based monitoring, available resources and alternate spare sourcing. We're going to be looking at MTBF and MTTR, and we're going to be looking at performance management. In the course of the session, I'm going to be making use of some acronyms. If I mention any acronym that you do not understand, please, you can write in the chat box, and then I believe you'll get clarification. All right, let's go. Modern maintenance management is not to repair broken equipment rapidly. This has been the old school mentality whereby business owners, business leaders, maintenance managers, maintenance engineers tend to celebrate people who resolve breakdowns or bring equipment back to operation rapidly. It's a wrong practice, I will tell you, because the idea is not to resolve problems quickly, but to prevent problems from happening. The idea is to prevent failures from occurring and not resolve problems that have already occurred. This is very important. Modern maintenance management is to keep the equipment running at rated capacity, producing quality products, and at the lowest possible cost, bringing in safety into consideration. Now, safety here talks about personnel safety, food safety, equipment safety, and all that. Now, when this is in place, we can now say we have a safe capacity assurance. This is very key. So unlike the old school mindset or mentality of fixing problems when they occur or celebrating speed of breakdown, I'm not trying to downplay MTTR, because the ease of maintenance is what is called mean time to repair. If you can quickly fix an issue, of course, your mean time to repair is going to be way less compared to if you don't fix it on time. So I'm not trying to downplay this, but I'm trying to make us understand that it is better to prevent the problem from occurring than for you to try to resolve the problem rapidly. Very important. Okay, so let's proceed. Now we're going to be looking at maintenance leadership. I am a very fast talker, but I'll try as much as possible to slow down so that we can catch up. We're going to be talking about a lot of things in the course of this session, but the pillar of everything we're going to be talking about is maintenance leadership, because everything rises and falls on leadership. This is a statement by an anonymous person. So at this point in time, you will need much more than that armchair authority to deliver results. By armchair authority, I mean the business has said you are the maintenance manager today. Of course, that's an armchair authority. The business has said you are the production manager today. Of course, that's an armchair authority. The business has said you are the plant manager today. That's an armchair authority. But that alone is not enough for you to deliver the desired result, especially this time of crisis. This is the moment when the trust you have built with and within your team will speak for you. So as a leader, regardless of whatever technical capabilities you have, regardless of the kind of skill you have technically, if you are not very sound when it comes to leadership, you may not be able to execute anything and you will not be able to achieve the desired results. So it is very, very important to note this. So I'm going to be talking about two pillars majorly. Number one is going to be empowering people. As a leader, this is a time where you need to empower your people to take informed decisions. Because if you are here and you're a leader and you are used to micromanaging people, I tell you, micromanagement may not really work this period because you cannot be everywhere at the same time. You should be able to have team members who are competent and capable enough to take certain decisions that will give positive effects to your business or to your department, as the case may be. So number one, you must be able to empower people to take or make informed decisions. Number two, you must be able to empower people with relevant knowledge. It's very key. You must be able to empower people with relevant knowledge. It is one thing to have knowledge. It is yet another thing to have relevant knowledge. Because if the knowledge is not relevant, then it is not useful. Very key. Then number three, you as a leader must be able to empower your people with relevant skills. This is key. Very important. Relevant skills. So as a leader, you must be able to, number one, empower people. Number two, as a leader, you must be able to inspire people because leadership is all about influence. Very key. And you cannot influence someone who you do not inspire. This is very important. Now, how do your team members feel after having a conversation with you? These are questions I'd like you to ask yourself. How do your team members feel after having a conversation with you? Do they feel important or do they feel you are important? This is very, very key. Because if your team members, after having a conversation with you, feel they are important, then I tell you, you are doing a good job. But if after having a conversation with you, they feel you are important, you are the boss, then I tell you, you are not doing a good job. Very, very key to note this. The next question is, what values do you exhibit at work and in your private life? As an individual, what values do you exhibit? You know, some people will say, do what I do, but don't do what I say. That is old school. Because people will watch you, people will see what you do, people will judge you by what you say and how you behave, both publicly and in private. Is very key. Then the next thing I'm going to be talking about here is going to be shared vision. I've seen organizations that have a very fantastic vision. They have fantastic objectives. They have fantastic goals. They have fantastic strategies, but they are downlines. People who work with them, who work for them, do not even understand this. They don't even know what the target is for the month, for example. They don't even know what the target is for MTBF, for example. They don't even know what the target is for OEE, for example. So if you as a leader know the target, but people who work with you don't know the target, then you are doing nothing, because alone you cannot achieve this. You need people who work with you and for you to understand what you are pursuing. Because if I don't understand what you are pursuing, how do I help you accomplish what you want to accomplish? So it is very important for us as leaders, whether maintenance leaders, whether operational leaders, whether plant managers, whether operations directors, as the case may be, whatever your role is, for you to ensure that your team members understand exactly what is required of them, understand exactly what the goals are, so that they can help you achieve them, is very key. Now, the last thing I'm going to be talking about here is leading change, ability to lead change. This is very key. This is very, very important. And why is this important? Whether we like it or not, in this period of crisis, a lot has changed, and a lot is changing, and a lot will change. How we manage this change as leaders is going to be what will determine whether we will survive or not survive now or after the crisis. Very important. A lot of companies are downsizing at the moment. This is change. A lot of companies are spending so much. For example, there are companies that don't even have means of bringing people to work before now, but they had to start it. It's a change and has to be managed properly. A lot of people are making sacrifices to come to work at the moment, while others are working from home. It's a change that needs to be managed properly. So as a leader, you must be able to empower people, you must be able to inspire people, you must be able to create a shared vision, and you must have the capacity to lead change. Change management is a course on its own that I think BMR has, that you can come for. It's a full-fledged course on its own. It's not something we can start talking about now. We can spend a whole day talking about change management. It's very key. It's very, very key. In fact, there is a level you get to in leadership as you climb up the ladder that all you'll be doing is leading change. Very, very important. So as a leader, it is pivotal that your leadership skills must come to full play at this moment if you must be able to survive now and even outside the crisis. So let's go to the next one. We're going to be talking about necessities only and not luxuries. What does this mean? This is not the time for nice to have. Nice to have is I just want to have it, not because it is of high importance, but we need to have it for luxury, as the case may be. So at this point, if it is not critical, don't do it. If that maintenance activity is not critical, don't do it. But the question is, how do you know and define which maintenance activity is critical or not critical? All right, there's what we call criticality analysis in reliability management. Criticality analysis is analysis that you carry out to be able to determine what assets are critical, what assets are not critical. When you carry out this analysis, you'll be able to rank your assets in the level of importance. By importance, it means what is the primary goal or objective of the business? What are the assets that we need to be able to achieve this primary goals or objective in level of priority? Very key. Criticality analysis is also a course on its own that I will not want to go too deep into. I'm going to talk at the surface. Now, to be able to do criticality analysis, there is what we call the risk priority number. Risk priority number is that number that is derived based on some factors. Because for you, as much as possible, not to be subjective in your analysis, you must be able to attach maybe figures to what you do. So RPN, to get your RPN is a multiplication of severity, occurrence, and detection. You can call detection detectability. What does severity mean? Severity means if this asset fails or if this happens, what is the impact of the failure of these assets to my operations? What is the impact of the failure of these assets to the primary objective of my organization? So severity is very key. As a leader, you should sit down and say, considering this in a ratio of 1 to 10, what is the severity of the failure of this asset? For example, for those in bottling companies, one of your critical assets is your filling machine. So if my filling machine fails, what is the severity of the failure of this filling machine? For those in bottling, I want to use bottling as an example because I work in bottling. In bottling, for example, your palletizer can fail. As far as your filling machine is running, your palletizer can fail and you can palletize manually. So the fact that you can palletize manually has reduced the level of criticality of the palletizer. So yes, my palletizer can fail, no issue, but as far as the filler is running, I can use people to palletize manually. So that is like an example I'm giving to make you understand what severity is. Then occurrence. What is the likelihood of failure of this asset? In ratio of 1 to 10, what is the likelihood of failure of this asset? Is the failure frequent? Is the failure frequent? Is the failure seldom? As the case may be, is it moderate? You will decide this as the leader or maintenance manager, as the case may be. Then detection or detectability. Before this asset fails, is there a way I can know that this asset is about to fail? You should be able to determine all this. So when you get these figures, for example, severity, you get a 4 or 5, occurrence, you get a 6, and detectability, you get a 2, as the case may be. If there's high detectability, maybe 10. If there's low detectability, maybe 1. When you multiply these together, you will get a number. That number you're going to get is what is called the risk priority number, also known as RPN number. So when you do this for all your assets, you will be able to determine which asset is critical and which asset is not critical. Now let's look at this second graphic here. Equipment criticality and mitigation strategy. For very critical equipment, which is very high here, you have to develop a contingency plan. By contingency plan, it means in case it happens, what is plan B? What can I do? If the filling machine fails, what is this alternative plan? What can I do to ensure that operations keeps running? Very key. Then you have to keep critical spares at hand. So it means all the spares that are critical to this asset that has high ranking must be at hand. Then you must apply serious level of preventive maintenance and predictive maintenance. Very key. Then the next level is high. For high assets with high criticality, you have to keep critical spares at hand and you apply preventive maintenance and predictive maintenance. For those that are moderate, you apply preventive and predictive maintenance. For low, all you just need to apply is your preventive maintenance programs. Then for assets that have very low criticalities, you run them to failure. I want to say here that run to failure is also a maintenance strategy. Very key to note. Run to failure is also a maintenance strategy because with the scarce resources available, as a maintenance manager or maintenance engineer or operations manager, there are assets that you can afford to run to failure because they are less critical, for example. Very important. Now, another thing you apply here is corrective maintenance only. That's to say, you can afford for these assets to fail before you fix them. So you carry out criticality analysis and focus only on critical assets and maintenance activities that are extremely necessary. Because at the moment, you have scarce resources. Your business is not moving. You are not selling as you are supposed to sell. Of course, every other thing should follow suit. So if you're not selling as you're supposed to sell, you need to also watch your spendings this period. So you have to carry out criticality analysis and focus only on assets that are critical and maintenance activities that are extremely necessary. Very key. So let's go ahead. Now is the time to execute opportunity maintenance. This is the best time to execute all maintenance activities that you have been waiting for planned stoppage. What does this mean? There are a lot of maintenance activities that you have been waiting for planned stoppage to be able to execute them. You already have the spares. You already made arrangement for these activities. For those of us that are not running in full capacity, this is an opportunity you need to take to fix all these issues, because I believe once everything is over, most organizations will want to run full blast to be able to cover for the losses that they've incurred in this period of crisis. So this is the opportunity to be able to close all these gaps, all maintenance activities you've been waiting for to fix. When there is a planned stoppage, this is the time to fix them. And you can also execute overhauls and turnaround maintenance if possible. Now, the reason why if possible is coming in is because, of course, overhauls and turnaround maintenance requires some high-level planning. So for overhauls that you can do, maybe modular overhauls, modular turnaround maintenance, you can take advantage of this opportunity to do them. But if not, then you have to wait and work as per plan. Very important. Next is preventive maintenance optimization. I believe for those that are maintenance managers, you can agree with me that not all PM tasks or not all preventive maintenance activities are value added. And this is the time to eliminate them. But how do you eliminate them? You must know them first before you eliminate them. You must have empirical data to show that these maintenance activities are not really value added. For example, I'm carrying out a vibration analysis every week to be able to check for deviations and all that. And then I carry out this vibration analysis on this asset in question for 3 weeks consecutively, and I don't see anything. Not 3 weeks is even too small. Maybe let's say I carry out these activities for every 1 week and I'm not seeing anything. So if I'm doing this activity every one week and there is no effect, why should I continue doing this activity every 1 week? It's a sign or an indication that I should increase the interval of checks. You understand? So preventive maintenance optimization is an activity we carry out in the maintenance department to ensure that every maintenance activity we carry out or execute is actually value added. So I'm going to be talking about 5 steps to executing PMO, and then I'm going to be starting with number 1 step, which is your first thing is you're going to unite all these connected strategies. And at this point, I would like to say that it is a very wrong practice and not best practice to have a generic maintenance strategy for all your assets. Because there are assets that basic preventive maintenance could work for, and there are assets that you will need high-level predictive maintenance or condition-based monitoring maintenance to be able to keep in operational state. So you need to be able to carry out what we call RCM, reliability-centered maintenance, to be able to determine what maintenance strategy is best for which asset. In fact, you can have 10 assets, and these 10 assets will have different maintenance strategy. There's nothing wrong with that. So it is wrong for you to have just one maintenance strategy and stick to it and say this is the only maintenance strategy we have. It is wrong. So the first step is unite all these connected strategies. What this means is your preventive maintenance tasks on your CMMS, your operator checks in your Excel, your predictive maintenance routines, and all that, your lubrication schedule. You bring all this together because what you want to do is to review them. Now, number 2 is you remove non-value added waste. What does this mean? This means that you will now begin to review all these maintenance tasks, whether preventive maintenance tasks, whether predictive maintenance tasks, whether lubrication tasks and all that, whether operator checks. There are some operator checks that are not relevant. So why do you need them? So you need to review all these things and then you remove those activities or those tasks that are not value added. Because number 1, if a task is not value added and you're doing it, you are wasting resources, both human and financial resources. For example, you are changing the oil of your car maybe after 100 hours. After you change now, after 100 hours, you change. You are changing this oil not because the oil is bad. Reason being that, okay, because they said I should change every 100 hours, okay, once it's 100 hours, I'll go ahead to change. What is the guarantee that that oil will not last you for another 150 hours? And at the end of the day, you end up saving 50 hours. So just because OEM has said it is 100 hours does not mean it must be 100 hours. That is why you need to be enlightened also to be able to carry out these assessments yourself to know that, okay, OEM said 100 hours, but I can actually use this for 150 hours based on the data available. I've tracked the usage of this over time and discovered that it actually lasts for more than 100 hours. So instead of changing this for 100 hours, why not change it after 150 hours, as the case may be? That's one. Then the next is what? Optimize value-added PMs. There are some preventive maintenance tasks that are value-adding. So what you need to do at the moment is to optimize them. For example, you can increase the frequency or reduce the frequency, as the case may be. Then number 4 is to use failure history to fill gaps. Now, when you're optimizing this preventive maintenance tasks, you may discover that there are some other failure modes that have evolved after the last review that was not captured. So based on your failure history, you can now capture these new failure modes and then come up with preventive maintenance strategy task or preventive maintenance activities that will be able to capture these failure modes and prevent them from occurring. And the last and final stage is what? To dial in your optimized strategy. What it means is, after I've removed maintenance activities that are not value adding, and I've optimized the ones that are value adding, and then I've captured emerging failure modes, the next thing is to what? To roll out. Very important. Now, down here, you'll see this is just a typical result of PMO activity that was carried out in one of the factories. So after the PMO activities, 40% of PM labor was reduced. And then 35% of scheduled downtime was eliminated. And then 65% more PM coverage was achieved. So with this result now, it's obvious that PMO is very critical in this time of crisis. Now, this second graphic here is trying to show us a relationship between number of failures and the different types of costs we have. And then with this, we'll be able to decide what kind of maintenance we need to do. Now, if you look at the green line or the green curve, it's showing us the cost of prevention. So obviously here from the graph, you can see that the higher the number of failures, the cost of prevention is low. And the reason why it's low is because, of course, you're not spending any money on prevention. That is why you're having a high number of failures. Or maybe you're spending money on the wrong prevention. You are spending a lot of money to prevent the wrong thing. So now, as your number of failures increases, your cost of prevention will become low, which is not something you want. And then looking at the red curve, is showing us the repair cost. So obviously, as the number of failures increases, your cost of repair increases also. Good. So now, but I don't want to be in a situation whereby I have a high number of failures and I'm saving cost. It doesn't make any economic sense. And I don't want to also be in a situation whereby I'm having so much failures and spending so much on repair. So I want to be in a point where I am in between, whereby my total maintenance cost is just in between, right in between. That is where you see the optimum cost. If I focus on the right side, what I'll end up doing is being reactive. And the kind of maintenance strategy I'm applying there is the reactive maintenance strategy. But if I'm also at the left side, I'll be applying high-level preventive maintenance. Yes, my number of failures will be very minimal, but my cost of maintenance will be extremely high, which I don't want to be also. So I want to be in between, whereby I don't have so much failures, and I'm also maximizing my cost. Very important. So in this time of crisis, what you need to apply is what we call intelligent maintenance. We will see this as we proceed. Okay, so we're also going to be talking about you increase your CBM intensity. CBM means condition-based monitoring. This is the time to increase your CBM intensity. And you know, funny enough, you do not necessarily need to have the high-tech CBM equipment to be able to carry out condition-based monitoring. Condition-based monitoring can be brought even down to the very basics. We do this, but maybe we don't know it's also condition-based monitoring, whereby you have to apply LLFS. You look, you listen, you feel, you smell. your operator should be able to look, listen, feel, and smell. With your senses, you will be able to know when an asset is beginning to perform less than minimum or less than acceptable. So at this point, at this area, you need to seek to catch more potential and hidden failures, even if it's with LLFS. For those of us that have the high-tech equipment like your vibration analysis tool, your thermal imager, your ultrasonic tool, and the likes, you can use them very well at this point, because at the end of the day, what we want to prevent is failure occurrence. So I'm going to be using this graph here to explain what we call the PF curve. PF means potential failure, potential and functional failure curve. So let's look at this. This part of the graph is showing us the condition of the asset. This part of the graph is showing us the time or condition of asset over time. Now, here, before I go into this, I'm going to explain 4 different types of failures. Number 1 is the inherent failure. Number 2 is the potential failure. Number 3 is the functional failure. And then number 4, which is not here, it is the catastrophic failure or total fatal failure, as the case may be. It depends on what you want to call it. I'm going to explain these 4 different failures, starting with inherent failure. Inherent failure can be defined as the inbuilt failure. Let me give an example now. I'm speaking to you now. I sound very clear. I'm sound. I'm healthy. But just because I'm healthy now or sound does not mean that a failure has not begun to occur in me, or a failure has a tendency to occur in me. You have the pump, for example. Your pump may be working fine, excellent, delivering the expected result. If it's supposed to give you 5,000 cubic meter, it's giving you 5,000 cubic meter. That does not mean that that pump doesn't have the capacity to fail in the next 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 10 days, as the case may be. So that kind of failure is what we call the inherent failure. Inbuilt failure, maybe not intentional, but maybe due to the strength of material, due to design and all that. That is what we call inherent failure. The next kind of failure is what we call the potential failure. I'm speaking to you, sound clear, but it's also possible that I'm beginning to have slight headache as I speak. But this slight headache has not begun to affect my performance as a presenter. So it is there, but it has not started affecting my performance. So just because it has not started affecting my performance does not mean it is not there. So if you see here, it shows that this is the point where we can find out that an asset is beginning to fail. It's called potential failure. Then this F is what we call the functional failure. Functional failure is the kind of failure that begins to affect performance. Okay, I will use myself as an example again. I'm speaking to you now. But if that headache that has begun to give sign begins to cause a running temperature and gets to a point whereby I can no longer speak clearly, it has degenerated from a potential failure to a functional failure because it has started affecting my performance. So just like your pump, the pump may be working excellently well at the moment, showing that there is no issue as far as performance is concerned. That is potential failure, even though maybe a bearing has begun to collapse. A bearing has begun to collapse, but pump is still running, so it looks okay. Now, when that bearing collapse begin to affect the delivery of the pump, it has degenerated from a potential failure to a functional failure. That is functional failure. And the next kind of failure is what we call the catastrophic failure or the total failure or total fatal failure. This is the type of failure whereby the pump stops working completely. Potential, it is working, it is delivering, but it has started failing. Functional, it is working, but it's not delivering as it is supposed to deliver. That is functional. Catastrophic is when it breaks down completely and it's no longer running, it's not working. That is catastrophic failure. So what does this, why do I need all this? Now, the reason why I need all this is because I want to be able, as a maintenance manager, to detect potential failures before it degenerates to what we call functional failure. So that is why this PF interval was created, whereby, okay, of course, this PF interval here could be, as the case may be, depending on the equipment and depending on the failure mode in question, it could be, this interval could be 2 weeks, it could be 3 weeks, it could be 4 weeks, it could be 5 weeks, it could be 10 weeks, as the case may be. Why do I need to know this interval? The reason why I need to know this interval is so that I can be able to plan ahead. When I discover a potential failure, how much time do I have to respond to this failure before it begins to affect the performance of my machine or my assets? Very important. So you cannot execute condition-based maintenance or condition-based monitoring effectively if you don't understand this. Very key. Now let's look at this next graphic. Now this graphic is showing us the relationship between the different condition-based monitoring techniques and then how we can use them with the PF curve. Now, at this point, failure is initiated. With oil analysis, I can be able to detect this failure at this point. So oil analysis is one of the fastest way we can detect failures. For example, in your engine is beginning to experience some level of corrosion and then deterioration, whereby you have so many particles in your oil and all that. With oil analysis, you could see this very fast. Yes, your engine may be working very fine and delivering the desired results, but something is already happening inside the engine. So with oil analysis, you can be able to detect this failure even before it begins to affect your performance, and then you have enough time to be able to respond to this failure before it gets to this point whereby it affects the performance of your engine. Then the next one that is also very efficient is ultrasonic testing, followed by the vibration analysis, followed by thermal imaging or thermography, then followed by motor testing. When it gets to a point whereby you can hear the noise, forget it. It has already started affecting your machine. When you begin to feel the temperature is hot, it's already, by that time, it's already too late for you to respond. So to be able to carry out CBN effectively, you must be able to employ this tool effectively. So the next thing we're going to be talking about is alternate spare sourcing and optimizing available resources. Because of the crisis at the moment, it is going to be very difficult to import spares at the moment. And maintenance operation managers must watch out for the following. Number one, as much as possible, critical spares replacement must be reduced to the barest minimum. What does this mean? You know, an average engineer will just want, if a part is bad, to just remove it and then replace it with a new one. Of course, that is the easiest thing to do. But in a time of crisis, it is advisable to check how possible it is to replace, or just not replace now, to fix this spare that is bad. If possible, if it is possible to fix the spare that is bad, of course, you can replace with a new one for operation to continue, and then fix this one that is bad and not throw it away. So what we're talking about here is that as much as possible, try to reduce spare part replacement. This is the time whereby you need to really apply temporary fix. Very key to sustain operations. Very, very key. And the number two thing is start looking for alternative sources for spares, because of course it is going to be difficult to import anything at the moment. Borders are closed. Of course, like Nigeria, the cargo is still allowed, but the processing the cargo before it even gets to you is another issue. So this is the time to look at our focus on getting local, focus on getting your spares locally. This is the time to develop alternate suppliers locally. Very key. Then number three, this is also the time to execute lean maintenance. Lean maintenance. Just the way we have lean manufacturing, lean maintenance is also very key. By lean maintenance, it means if it's not required, don't do it. It has to be required, it has to be critical, just like we talked about earlier, for you to do it. All right, and this is the time to focus on keeping MTBF and MTTR in check. Now, the goal at the moment is to ensure that MTBF is on an upward trend and MTTR is on a downward trend. What is MTBF? MTBF simply means your average uptime, mean time between failure, the average time it takes between one failure and another failure. Very key. Mean time to repair simply means the average time it takes to repair an asset after it has failed. These are very key KPIs or key performance metrics you need to watch to ensure that your assets are always available. At this point, unnecessary asset failures must be avoided, and then we must minimize the loss of productive time due to equipment failures. And now, more than ever, Gemba work is very key. The frequency must increase. What is Gemba work? Gemba simply means go and see. This is the time whereby you need to be on the shop floor yourself. Maintenance manager, operations manager, you need to spend so much time on the shop floor, because when you are there by yourself, you get to see things as it is, and then you get to take decisions as quick as possible. So more than ever, this is a time for you and every other operations manager to be very close to the shop floor. Very key. Then review performance metrics more frequently. What this means is that as a maintenance manager, I'm sure we do this, and if you don't do this, it is very important to do this, whereby you have periodic meetings. It could be daily, it could be on shift basis, to review the performance of your team members. What are the maintenance activities scheduled for today? How many have we been able to do? What are the challenges we have? What have we not done? These ones that are in the backlog, what are the challenges we have? What do we need to do to ensure that these are closed? So when we do this, we ensure that lingering issues with potential for output cuts are tracked and resolved promptly. And then some points here I'm going to be mentioning that will help us to manage our performance effectively. So you manage better by adjusting performance objectives if you can. What this means is that, of course, at the beginning of the year, we must have agreed on some KPIs which are going to guide the team in the course of the year, and we are supposed to be reviewing them periodically. But with this crisis now, a lot has changed. So it is also possible for you as a maintenance leader to make these KPIs a little more strict, a little more stringent. If, for example, your mean time between failure is 2 hours for a week, for example, you can decide to make it 2 hours, 30 minutes, as the case may be, so that you can increase the performance level of your asset. Then you increase the weight of proactive tasks done, and you put penalty for asset downtime, very key. Then you assess all job notifications raised and attend to them promptly in order of priority based on criticality. What this means is that, of course, when there is an issue, anybody can raise a job notification. In work management practices, it starts with a job notification whereby an issue is seen, a job notification is raised, assessment is done, and then those jobs that survive the assessment are then planned. And then after planning, we begin to talk about schedule and then execution. So at this point, you assess all job notifications raised and attend to them promptly in order of priority. Of course, when you are raising these work orders, of course, you put priority. So, and this priority should be based on criticality. If it is not critical, it should not have high priority. So based on this priority, you execute them. Then the next step is to prioritize more accurately your PM tasks, unlike before. Put all resources into scheduled work orders to ensure high priority tasks are done always and at all costs. What this means is that once you schedule it, you should ensure that you execute it promptly. Very key. And this is a time whereby you don't just leave a priority definition for work or activities to be done by specific people, especially if you are not so sure or confident of their skill. So maintenance manager should also look into this, assess the job yourself, and then see criticality and then determine which you go and which should not go. And finally, you focus on critical jobs for now, and this requires very serious discipline. Okay, so let's proceed. Other strategies you can employ could be more efficient use of maintenance personnel and equipment. For example, you need to do intermittent checks on assets during lockdown and test run rotating equipment. This is very key because during this lockdown, it is possible that for many industries, they were shut down. Those industries that were not essential, they were shut down. But you know what elongated shutdown can do to assets. So intermittently, you need to check these assets and then try to test them, especially rotating equipment to ensure that they are fully functional, even while not in operation. Very key. Then you have to improve the quality of the product to improve productivity. You also have to improve or minimize total maintenance costs, which include cost of repairs, people costs, spare parts, and inventory costs. You need to watch your costs now more than ever. Very key. Maximize economic value in production through optimum use of facilities. Of course, now that we're in crisis, you have to maximize the facilities. Very key. Then generally keep all productive assets in good working condition. So I think that is the end of my session so far. So if you have any questions, you can come up with them.
Thank you very much, Gado.
Yeah.
It was a very brilliant session, as usual. Thank you very much. We appreciate you for your time. It is now time for question and answer. So everyone who has a question, I have received some questions already. And we will take them. But anyone who has any more questions should please send them in and we'll deal with them. But before then, in addition to all that Gado has talked about plant shutdown and restart after a lockdown crisis like ours, I want to mention that plant startup after a time like this, safety is very critical. Safety of the personnel, safety of the assets, and safety in the work areas, especially for plants that deal with hazardous materials. Hazardous materials. In the oil industry already, they are taking this into cognizance. You don't go straight onto site without quarantine or without isolation rather, and then they do proper safety briefing before you come on the work site. So it is very important that for all of us, even if we do clerical works, administrative works in our offices, somebody should go ahead of time. Usually the line manager, the person who is leading the teams, the supervisor, go ahead of time with this safety personnel to do an assessment of the working space to ensure that everything is clear and safe for everybody to be able to resume and work in. If you work in a facility where you have pressure vessels, you have dangerous chemicals, dangerous gases, somebody should go ahead of time to check that there are no unwanted levels of dangerous and hazardous chemicals and gases in the air around, and ensure that pressure vessels are depressurized. Those ones that need to be depressurized are depressurized before plant startup. It is also very important relating to safety that access control is improved very greatly at the time of restarting your office and plant. We must take very particular attention to personnel and access controls. So to be sure that the people that are coming in from home after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, depending on where you are around the world, are in the right frame of mind to be able to enter the facility and do their works. Thank you very much. Questions. Let's see how many of these questions we can answer before we go. Somebody is asking, this is Martins, he's saying, can time affect equipment reliability? This should be for Gado. Gado. Hello. Hello. Can you guys hear me? Okay, yes, guys can hear me. They are raising. Okay, Gado is not here for whatever reason. Okay, I will answer the question. The answer will be yes. Time definitely affects reliability. In the calculation of reliability, there is a critical metric that is used, which is called MTBF, mean time between failure. That is time. You measure, that is the time between one failure and the very next failure. And the intention of reliability is to ensure that the time between one failure and another failure is as long as we possibly can make it. So time is a critical factor in reliability, and the target is to ensure that you run for as long as possible. Thank you. Let's see. Somebody else is asking that. Okay, somebody else is asking that is intelligent maintenance as indicated in one of the slides, signify a combination of predictive, blah, blah, precision, prescriptive, all that? The answer will be yes. It is a combination of everything that is proactive, with the exclusion of anything reactive. Everything that is proactive is what we refer to as intelligent maintenance. So preventive maintenance, condition-based maintenance, all of this form part of intelligent maintenance. Thank you very much for that question. Somebody said, that's Sarumina. Gemba work is very important to managers, but it sometimes unsettles line technicians and operators. How do managers manage this without defeating the purpose of? This will only be possible in a workplace where you put people in straitjackets, where there is very tight authority kind of relationship between line managers and technicians and operators. If you operate as a leader of your function or a section of your function, Gemba work should not be a problem. In fact, the people on the shop floor, the operators and technicians, who will be well trained enough to understand that Gemba work is an integral part of your work. So one of the next webinars we will be talking about, we will be doing maybe next week or the week after, will be reinventing yourself with workplace leadership. We'll talk about some of these things. Leadership as it relates to helping people to perform better than they currently are doing. If you act as a leader, that should not be a problem. It shouldn't unsettle operators and technicians. It shouldn't. If it does, there is something wrong. Then I think your environment is toxic. Okay. Somebody is asking, how does a beginner like myself start? That is, how does a beginner like myself start the journey into maintenance and reliability? I mean, what is the stepwise program I need to follow? Okay, I will suggest that this discussion is taken offline with one of our professionals who can guide your career. But generally speaking, by attending such a webinar, you have taken the right step. You have taken the right step. If you are interested in maintenance and reliability, by attending seminars like this, you begin to learn a little at a time about maintenance and reliability, and then your interest can be able to be increased. If you are already working in the field of maintenance and reliability, automatically means that getting knowledge in maintenance and reliability is a must for you. It's a must for you. So after this session, you can send either me or Gado a private email or WhatsApp chat, or even the host email address as advertised, and we can take it from there to guide your understanding. Another question, let me see. There are many questions now, many questions. We may not be able to take all of them. Somebody is asking, how do I manage in an organization where the process of getting things done is very cumbersome, from justification to approval? He is asking in respect to jobs that require external support. This impacts MTTR. This question is from Olayinka Ahmad. Yes, this is a very common problem. In fact, virtually all organizations have this kind of problem. Management usually does not like to spend money. But you have mentioned the word I will have used to explain your question to you. You have already mentioned it in your question, which is justification for approval. And that is where your own expertise, your level of knowledge in maintenance and reliability comes to play. You should be able to design and present a business case such that it will be difficult for your line managers, for your management to reject it. One of the key elements of a business case is to indicate not only the critical gap between current performance and expected performance, but also the cost of indecision, the cost of disapproving your proposition. So management must understand that in this business case you are making, this is what the business stands to gain. And this as well will be what the business will gain if it does not agree to it. So all this information you will put in your business case to help management make the best decision possible. Next question. Is it possible to detect failure, hidden failures? Yes, it is. Yes, it is possible to detect hidden failures. That is one of the maintenance strategies available as output from RCM that Gado talked about is failure finding. Failure finding. You can actually detect hidden failures if you identify assets and parts of assets. Gado, you are disturbing us.
Okay, good.
But be online. I've been answering your questions, please. It is possible if you identify assets that have that have parts that can exhibit critical failure. That will mean that you will check them very often if you identify that such critical failures can be catastrophic, or at least can be critical. Critical failures are both catastrophic failures and functional failures. What are hidden failures? Hidden failures are failures that will not show themselves to you until the time that you want to use that asset or that part of the asset. For example, if you have a steam boiler, if you have, for example, a 20-ton steam boiler, that is a massive equipment that you use every day. And you can have pressures of up to 20 bar and more inside this steam boiler. Every steam boiler has a pressure relief valve. That valve can fail without you knowing. And if you don't check, normally you will only discover that it has failed at the time that the boiler needs to use it, and it is too late. It is too late. Another example is the brake light of your car. The brake light of your car exhibits hidden failure. When the bulbs are dead, you will not know that the brake light has died until the time that you apply brake and man behind you does not see and he runs into you. So that's it. Thank you very much. Somebody's asking how Toby or Lagunju, how I can get the recorded version. All of you will get the recorded version in your mails. You will get the slides and you will get the recorded versions, all of you. Somebody is thanking Gado in the form of a question. Thanks very much for the lecture. I'll answer for Gado. Thank you. Gado, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear. Just stand by, please. You can see the questions yourself.
Yes. I had some difficulty. I don't know what happened.
Okay, no problem. I'll read to you. Okay. Okay, somebody is asking how fast will we get the certificates after paying the token, blah, 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 blah. Yes, you will get it within days. You will get it within days. Send us a private email. We'll take it up from there. So we will leave it at this point because we have some poll questions for our participants to answer. Any question that we have not answered, we apologize. It's because of time. We will answer all of them and send back to all of you. Thank you very much for this question and answer session. Very brilliant questions that all of you have asked. And we are happy that you have some great understanding about the topic that we have discussed today. Our next webinar will be next Thursday, 7th of May at 4 p.m. At 4 p.m. because we realize that probably work will have started, and as government says, work should end at 2 o'clock. So maybe 4 o'clock will be a good time. And the topic shall be Reinvent Yourself, Workplace Leadership. This is a free webinar as well. It is very free, so we can also register and join. When we get the registration link ready, we will share the same way we spread the word this time around so that you can register. In the upper week, we shall host another webinar dealing with maintenance budget cuts, Illumine Monster. This one is going to be a paid, webinar to be presented by Engineer Sheyi Iwaeni, a very good friend of the house as well. We'll be giving you strategies as to how to ensure that you can save your budgets as you have made them. That is provided you made them correctly in the first place. So we'll be talking about how to make the best kind of maintenance budgets and give you several strategies to save money in a post-pandemic situation like we have. Because believe it or not, as companies begin to resume, they will be seeking all avenues to save money. They will be seeking all avenues to save money. So if you're a maintenance manager, operations manager, how can you help your business to save money? And how can you defend the budget that you have already made before your management to insist that your budget should not be cut? So this will be a paid webinar. It will be a 3-hour session. And we are working on it. We're going to charge just a token, 20,000 Naira or $50 for those who will be attending from abroad. It's just a token. This is a cost that is normally valued at 100,000 Naira. Okay, now let's take on our polls available today. Hold on, please. We'll take polls. Where is it? Sorry. Okay. We will go to our polls now. Okay, let's take the poll questions, please. The first one, I will be launching it. Please just answer as you see on your screen. We have 20 seconds. Please answer. Thank you. The responses are coming in. The responses are coming in. All the responses we get from these polls are going to be used for the purpose of research. For the purpose of research. For us to understand our audience and our market. Thank you. The poll has ended. We have ended it. Let me share the results for all of you to see. Okay. Well, not very surprising. That means that WhatsApp messaging has shown to be the most effective mode of communication to our people. Instagram and Twitter is, of course, the least effective. Thank you very much. We will learn from this. We will analyze this behind. Let's take on the next question. The next poll, let me allow panelists to also vote. The next poll is up. Please vote. Hello? 10 seconds have gone, nobody's voting. Please vote, vote. Only 35 people have voted. Thank you, please vote, vote, vote. Vote, please. Okay. In 5 seconds, I will end the poll and share the result. 2, 1, 0. Okay. Here again, the majority of the people say CMMS is available and fully functional. Excellent, excellent. These are the kind of people that will understand us better because they already have a feel of what organized maintenance management is about. Organized maintenance management is about. Some say they have never used it before, or it's an opportunity for you now to get closer to us to understand what maintenance management is all about. So for people like this, I will advise you that you start principle, understanding what maintenance management is about. And we have a course specifically for that. It's called maintenance work management. Once you understand that, you will now begin to understand how CMMS should work. Some other people said it is not available. They are also similar to the people who have never used it before, in the sense that they are not using it now. Some of them may have used it before, but it is not available where they are working currently. But it provides you a great opportunity to seek some improvement. We'll analyze these results, and if you have more questions, you can contact us. We have another poll. Please be patient to take all the polls. Here you are. Please vote. Please vote. Vote, vote, vote. I think we missed out something. We should have put one option there for all. Vote, please. Vote. Okay, I will stop in 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, 0. Thank you. As expected, a lot of people said plant preventive maintenance. Excellent. Excellent. No problem. If you do our maintenance work management course, you will understand that all of the rest can be fed into the plant preventive maintenance plans. Excellent. Thank you very much. We'll analyze this. Another poll. Another poll. Yes, please vote. Poll number 4. Okay, I will stop now. Expected results, like the previous one, the answer overwhelmingly is yes. Is yes. For those who say no, this creates an opportunity for you to make change wherever you are working. For those who also say sometimes, it is also an opportunity for you to learn what is best practice and implement in your workplace. If you don't have adequate knowledge, you may need to seek to close that knowledge gap that you have to be a star in your workplace. Thank you very much. One more, not one more, we have 3 more polls. Please vote. In 5 seconds, I will stop. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Thank you. Again, the most popular response is anytime this is required. Anytime this is required. This is very good. This is very good. Like condition monitoring, you do maintenance when it is required. This is very good. But for systems that do this when it is required, that means they already have a PM system properly set up. This is excellent. Thank you very much. Our next poll is this. Before, okay, please vote. FCFS means first come, first serve. First come, first serve. We will be offering some seats absolutely for free on our paid webinars, some of them. Okay, I will stop in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Thank you. Wow. Overwhelmingly, our people have said that we should offer free seats for our paid webinars, as expected. Yes, we expect this kind of result overwhelmingly. Thank you to the other respondents who say everything should be free. And also thank you to those who say maybe. We will analyze the results and we will make a decision. This is the kind of result that we expected. The last poll for today. Please vote. Keep on voting. Only 50 people have voted. It's rising. Okay, very rapidly now, 60. Okay, I'll stop the poll in 5 seconds. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Thank you very much for this. And I'll share the results. Overwhelmingly, 60% of the people say we should reduce the fee of 20,000 naira, $50. And the next group says the price is just about right for the knowledge that they will be getting. I thank all of you for your responses. We shall analyze this and come to a decision that we will share with you later. So that will be all on the polls. That will be all on the polls. If you want to contact us for consulting services and training services, please, our address is shown on the screen as it is. You can call any one of these phone numbers or write to any one of these email addresses. You can also contact the host, whose contact you already have, phone number and email address. You can contact any of the presenters for today who will answer your questions as well. Gadu, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm right here, madam.
Okay. I think we have come to the end of this session for today, our inaugural webinar session for today. I thank all of you. It was a very wow response we got from the people. We subscribed for 100 seats. 100 seats, and within 24 hours, we got more than 200 registrations. Before nightfall, yesterday, we got 300 registrations, and we already knew that if all 300 want to log in, we may not have adequate number of seats. We made attempts to buy extra seats, which we have paid for, 500 seats. But unfortunately for us, maybe because it is weekend, Zoom was not able to activate the 500-seater class for us. So more than 200 registrants were not able to attend this. If you know any one of them, please explain to them as I have just said to you, and urge them to join us next time. We have a 500-seater capacity class for our next webinar. It is also going to be free. They can join us, and also encourage them that they will get this webinar slides and the recorded video as a link. Everybody will get, even those who did not attend this session. Thank you very much, and please join us next time as we share our knowledge with you. Thank you, and goodbye.
Thank you, and goodbye.
Thank you, bye-bye.